good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and whenever you may be listening to us. You're listening to Psychic Talk Radio. I'm Dax Carlisle, coming to you live from Tucson, Arizona, and joining me, as always, the fabulous Certified Tarot Master, Mary Brown. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Dax. Hey, everybody. Happy Psychic Saturday.
It's our favorite show of the week where Mary and I get to, let the hair down and just relax and have a cup of coffee or tea and chat with you guys.
Yeah.
That's right. And we are live simulcasting on Facebook. If you're listening to us on the telephone, maybe you've called into the show. And yes, we are taking your calls today, as always, every Saturday. You can also join us on the live, though. And we are on our Facebook group. You can just search Psychic Talk Radio on Facebook, or the fast, easy way is open a tab, type in psychictalk.net, our website, type in psychictalk.net/Facebook. It'll take you right over there. Join the group, and you'll see the live, where we are live streaming onto Facebook, as well as Blog Talk Radio, psychictalk.net, and all around the web here. You can chat with us in the comments. Mary, were you able to get into the Facebook Live?
Oh, yeah. I'm there right now. I even shared it, and I hit the love button.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm glad you reminded me, because it's on our Psychic Talk group, but I want to share it also onto our Tarot Guild group, where we have well over 5,000 people. So find the Tarot Guild group as well, folks. You're going to want to join that if you're in the Tarot and Numerology. Over 5,000 people chatting about that. And I'm sharing that over to the Tarot Guild group on Facebook right now. There it goes. I see Sharona in there. Hi, Sharona. One of our hosts has popped in to listen to the show. Sharona, in the comments, let us know if you're hearing us okay, because we're doing the show live, and I can't check to hear if the player's actually working on Facebook Live. You know, we're new to this. We've only been doing this for like a week and a half, simulcasting onto Facebook, and we're actually using this as our chat room now. So if you go over to our group and join us in the Facebook Live, you can not only listen to the show, and sometimes we're up on camera. We're not on camera today. Our lovely pictures are up there, but we'll be on camera maybe next week.
To me, the court cards are a little bit like the aces, in that you just have a figure, with the court cards. You just have a figure sitting there, and you can kind of look at how they're sitting, how the body's positioned, what direction they're facing, what kind of little things are around them. You can get some clues from that. But they're not generally, maybe with the exception of the knights, which seem to denote movement. Generally, they're just sitting there, or they're just standing there in the case of the pages. And so for a lot of people, it's just like, there's a person, and it's not, compared to, like, say something, in the minor suits of, like, you look at the fives, or you look at the twos, and you get an idea of a scene and something happening in that scene, and there's a lot more to read into it. And like I said, to me, they're a little bit like the aces in that way, because usually with the aces, you see, like, the suit element, and one example of it, like you see a coin, or you see a sword, or you see a cup, and you might see a disembodied hand, depending on what deck you're using. But again, there's not a lot to read into it. So I think that that's part of why people get caught up in it. And then also, there's a lot of, different traditional ways of looking at the court cards that, sometimes they just don't work for every meeting. Right? If you have, say, the Queen of Cups come up, and you think of it in terms of, like, okay, a water sign woman, okay, and if that doesn't necessarily relate, then you've got to kind of think about, well, what does the Queen of Cups represent? what kind of woman is this if it doesn't have to do with what their astrological sign may be, what characteristics come up. And, I had a funny experience doing a reading not that long ago for a client, and I think it was the Queen of Swords that came up. And she's like, oh, that's him. I'm like, who? And she's like, well, the Queen of Swords to me is always a gay man. And I'm like, okay, well, that's outside the, a lot of the, traditional interpretations you might get for that. But I think that's a good example of how it happens a lot, that some of us start to associate the court cards, or at least some of the court cards, with individual personality types or individual characteristics of a person, and sometimes we can get really fixed in that. So I think that it kind of can give people trouble because, okay, if you ask like a question that has nothing to do with, any particular people at all, say you want to know something.
Exactly.
Like one of the bigger questions sometimes we ask on our psychic spins, like, what's the purpose of the universe? And say we get the King of Swords, well, how do we look at that if that's the card that comes up? Is the purpose of the universe, an air sign man? Is that, in a position of authority? Is he a lawyer? So I think that's part of it. So I think it's going to be really interesting, your technique, for all of us to learn a bit more about your technique with the master numbers, because to me that seems like that, really kind of gives us a lot more freedom when looking at the court cards. So I'm excited to hear about it.
That's right. Well, I found out, I just wanted to let everybody know that I found out that what had happened was the player from Blog Talk didn't start. And that's why there was no audio for the first few minutes there on the live. But it is playing now. It's obviously it's going to be 5 minutes behind. But if you're listening on the live, you're not going to know that or hear that or care. It's just going to sound fine. So everything is working well now on the Facebook Live and here on the simulcast, the radio show on Blog Talk Radio as well.
Yay!
So yes, that was an awesome introduction you just gave, and yeah, I think that is one of the big hang-ups that people have, is because they are too stringently looking at those court cards as people. And I honestly, when I'm doing readings, that comes up a lot. I mean, that they are people. Yes, it's true. And they'll make appearances and indicate, various players involved in the question and different things along those lines. But they can be so many other things. They don't have to just be people. And so if it doesn't fit into the narrative of the reading that you're doing, there's other ways to look at it. And a lot of authors and teachers have talked about this in various books and courses and so forth like that. My take on it is I'm looking at it from a numerological perspective because, as I've said on the show many times before, when I first got into really studying tarot, I had already been studying sacred geometry and numerology for a long time. So, we're going back decades and decades and decades and decades. And showing our age here, Mary, when I had always known about the tarot cards and had an interest, but I never really deeply studied it. And it was a friend of mine that actually really got me going, where it was on my birthday. He bought me the Dragon Tarot. It was the first deck I ever had, and it was gifted to me too, which I love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
He also had a lot of books. he had a lot of books on tarot too, so he loaned me all those books, and I started studying it and started looking at the cards, and it hit me right away, Mary, that, oh, look, this is a system based on sacred geometry and numerology. And the
Right up
thing
your
is,
alley.
yeah, but if you hadn't studied that prior, if you came to tarot first and you go through and you learn, and people come across the connections to numerology later, normally that's how it normally happens. For me, it was flipped the other way around. So it was much more obvious. And when I got into teaching tarot 20-some years ago, I incorporated that right away. In fact, my course is called Tarot by the Numbers just for that reason. And I separate the deck out by the numbers, all the 1 cards, the 2 cards, the 3 cards, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in traditional numerology, and there are 10 cards, but they reduce down. So 1 plus 0 is 1. So the 10 cards in the minor arcana are actually 1. And then you've got the major arcana cards, which you have the full numbered 0, but it's also the 22nd card, the master builder number. You can look at it that way. You've got the cards numbered 1 through 21. So if we look at the world card 21, 2 plus 1 is 3, you would group that in with the 3s. And card 18, you would group in with the 9s, and so forth. And so that's how I divided it up. But what do you do about the core cards? Because there's no numbers on the court cards. And so most people say there's no numerological association. But as I worked with it more, it dawned on me, oh, wait, we're forgetting about the master numbers. And, of course, you can go back in our archive. You can search master numbers. We've done a few shows talking about master numbers before, and I'm not going to go in depth into the master numbers. There's a lot of master numbers, and a lot more than most numerologists actually even talk about. In fact, you're hard-pressed to find information beyond 11, 22, sometimes 33, almost never 44. And, of course, it goes all the way up to 99, and then also triple digits, 111, 444. Those are master numbers. We call them angel numbers, but those are master numbers, and it goes all the way up to 9 digits. So 9999, 9999 is a master number, yes. And we go more in depth on that topic in other shows, and of course in my course. You can take my Tarot by the Numbers course, and it includes all the numerology, the master numbers. I'm throwing in the angel numbers from my old course, actually. And, of course, tarot. You get a strong foundation in both. You can go over to psychictalk.net/guild. That's for the Tarot Guild, psychictalk.net/guild, where I have my course on sale for $27 right now. So it's a steal. $197 course for $27, so you can learn all this stuff. But what we're talking about today, I realized that the common master numbers that people talk about, 11, 22, sometimes 33, and rarely do they ever talk about 44, but that's the master manifestor number, that they match up perfectly with the court cards, with the pages, the knights, the queens, and the kings. Now, at first, when I was looking at this, Mary, and trying to figure this out, I looked at different ways to number these cards by, extending the numbers. For instance, typically you start with the ace card, card 1, through 10 in the minor suits, the individual suits. Think of playing cards, folks, if you're not in the tarot. And then the court cards come after that, page, knight, queen, king. So ace through king is the normal way people would lay out a suit, Mary. And so some of the initial ideas I had were things like, okay, well, if we're going, through the numbered cards 1 through 10, and then page is the next card, well, that would be 11, and then 12, 13, 14. 12 for the knights, 13 for the queens, 14 because there's 14 cards in a suit, 14 for the kings. But when you look at that from a numerological standpoint, when you just look at the numbers, it doesn't match up. 11 does kind of match up with the pages, but then when you go 12, okay, 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so 3 and the knights. And then 13, 1 plus 3 is 4, structure, 4 and the queens. And then 14, 1 plus 4 is 5, and 5 is the number of change in numerology. It's also sometimes called the chaos number. That doesn't fit the kings either. But then but I did remember how 11 matched up with the energy of the page. 11 reduces to 2, and 11 is the master illuminator number. So learnings and messages and information, and we know that the pages are associated with those things. And then it dawned on me, it's like, oh wait, 11 is a master number. It's the master illuminator number. Well, what happens if I look at the association between 22, 33, and 44, 22 for the knights, 33 for the queens, 44 for the kings? It all fell into place then, Mary.
Wow.
Yeah. So you've got the master illuminator number 11, which matches up perfectly with the pages. 22 is the master builder number. And that fits really well with the knights. It reduces to 4, which is structure. 2 plus 2 is 4. And the knights, besides their associations when we're talking about the knights as a person or a quality of yourself, which is how it's taught normally in tarot to people, it can also be projects and building things. And think of the knights in general. Knights go out and are action takers. They're doers. They go out and do things, accomplish things, create things, build things. Matches up with that 22 master builder number energy so well. And then the queens. Let's look at the queens. You've got 33. 33 is the master builder, the master teacher, master healer number. And we often associate those qualities with the queens, that healing energy, that nurturing energy. It's similar to the master illuminator number 11, which is, teaching and learnings, but this is at another level. This is at a higher level, more mass teaching, if that makes sense. And I just feel that fits in really well with the queens. And then the kings, 44, the master manifester number. I mean, this is the ultimate. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 is the number of abundance in numerology. The kings are the highest penultimate pinnacle of manifestation and abundance amongst the minor arcana. And it just fits so perfectly.
Wow.
So, yeah. So if you're doing a reading and you get a court card, right away you can go, okay, page 11 or queen 33 or knight 22, king 44. And if it's representing a person, with the surrounding cards and what the question was, you're going to get that, the traditional ways of looking at the court cards. But if you're stuck, if you're thinking, okay, this is just not fitting what's going on with the cards in the spread, you can take a look at the master number for that card. Does that fit? Does that make more sense? There's another thing that's great about this too, Mary, looking at it this way, is that if you do spreads where you have an outcome card or a timing card, and for some readers they would get a court card and you're frustrated. There's no number. How do I do timing?
Right.
Okay, I can look at the suit and I can think, okay, this is associated with fall and this is associated with spring or summer or winter, the different suits and so forth like that, but there's no number. Well, now you've got numbers to work with. You can look at it literally. Yeah, you can look at it literally like a page being 11, or reduce it. 1 + 1 is 2. So you're talking 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 months, whatever, when you're doing timing. Or you can just take it literally, too, as well. I mean, 33, a queen shows up, that could be 6 days away. That could be 33 days away. So a month and a few days. There's a lot of ways of looking at it. It depends on how you want to use the cards. But this just gives you a different way of looking at the court cards. It gives you more ammunition, more information. And it helps out people, especially if you are big into numerology and you're looking at the tarot and you don't know what to do with the court cards. This solves that dilemma for you.
Wow. And you know what else it makes me think of, too, is that, some people, not everybody, but some people like the idea of using a significator, a card to represent themselves in a reading. And, a lot of times, the traditional way of choosing a significator would be to either, pick a card that represents the theme or the subject of the reading. But if you're picking a card for yourself, you were usually just left with, okay, based on your age and your astrological sign, like pick one of the court cards. And so, I hear all the time people would be like, well, my court card should be the Queen of Wands, but I don't feel like that. But if they look at the numerology instead, they may find that they better relate to a different card. So that's another thing that you could use it for.
Absolutely. And, I like to leave it up to people to play around with these things and develop their own ideas about it, and use it in the way that they want to use it. I'm not saying that the way I use it or the interpretation that I have, is the end all or be all, and but play with it yourself, work with it, see if it fits into your dynamic if you're already a reader, or even if you're just learning. It's even better if you're just learning, right, Mary, that you can associate this along with everything else. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's very helpful, I think.
Yeah. Let's see, and Renee in the chat here, I'm calling it the chat, the comments on the Facebook Live. Brilliant on 11 page, 22 knight, 33 queen, 44 king. Yeah. And, I have yet to see or hear anybody teaching tarot talk about this, Mary.
I just you. You're the only one that I've heard, bring this up, and I think it's terrific because, again, it's like court cards, can be, kind of a head scratcher for a lot of people. So this is terrific.
Right. And there's a lot more that could be said, and a lot more that can be analyzed and looked at, but I'm just going to leave that to the course, folks. You know, if you want to take the course, and you can learn more in my course, you'll find it on the website. To get the sale price, go over to the Guild special page we've got going, psychictalk.net/guild. If you're already a reader, you can join the Tarot Guild and get your tarot certification included for just $27, or you can enroll in my course for $27, or get all three of those for $44. It's all there at psychictalk.net/guild. And then if you have you get into the course and you have questions on this and you want to chat about it, I'm always available on Facebook and Skype and so forth, and we can jump on and chat. So I hope this helps some people out there, and you have fun with it.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're at the bottom of the hour already, and the phone lines are wide open. There's a lot of room. There's some callers we're going to get to in just a minute here, but there's a lot of room for you guys to jump on at 714-816-4628 if you'd like to get a mini reading, or chat with us about what we just chatted about, or ask questions about that, or anything to do with tarot, numerology, or any of the subjects that we cover. So bottom of the hour, Mary, should we, before we go to phone lines, you want to make some announcements real quick?
Yes, real quick. Let's talk about what is coming up this week on the Psychic Talk Radio Network. We have a lot of great shows coming up, which is starting tomorrow. The Angel Practitioner Spotlight will be on Ginger Garvey on the Angelic Realm Show with your host, Maria G. Moss, and Certified Angel Practitioner Ginger Garvey is her host. And then on Monday, it's the Wisdom of the Soul Show with your host, Janice Fuchs. That's going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And that will be followed by the Compassionate Light Healing and Guidance Show with your host, Catherine Hahn. She will be talking about raising your vibration. And then on Friday, it's going to be open lines to mini readings. The doctors are in with Dr. Rose and Dr. Dax. They're going to have open lines, mini readings, and more. And then Dax and I will be back next Saturday. We're going to be doing another episode of Psychic Saturday and Psychic Spin. And I'm really looking forward to that one, Dax. I think it's going to be fun. We're going to be looking back on October, and our Psychic Spin question is going to be, will the paranormal become normal? Because I don't know if you've noticed, but it seems like a lot of things that have been considered, paranormal or woo-woo for some, seem to be becoming very popular, and kind of normal. I'm seeing like celebrities like using crystals for everything. You're seeing tarot on the runway and people, of all walks of life consulting it. What do you think of that? I'm excited to take a look at what the tarot has to say about it.
Yeah, and that's going to be totally fun. For those that don't know, the Psychic Spin segment is when we take a look at different questions or things going on in the news. Like last time we did Brexit, and we did the what was that for? The climate change. We looked at the climate change. And actually, Brexit is big in the news today. It's all over the news. They're going nuts in the UK. I mean, the crowds are unbelievable, and they're getting closer to that date. So we'll find out. We might even know something by Psychic Spin next week on Brexit and what we predicted, and we'll take a look at that. But, you have the talking heads and the news programs and things like that, but what we can do that they can't do is we can look at it from a psychic perspective. We can pull cards in certain circumstances. We can do the numerology on certain situations and get information that the talking heads can't get. And so we call it psychic spin. And it's so true. Things are becoming so mainstream. I see tarot popping up in fictional TV shows, in reality TV. There's endless paranormal and ghost hunting shows and psychic shows and medium shows, and it's just becoming very mainstream, I think. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what the tarot has to say about it. So we're going to pull cards on it next week.
Yay.
Awesome stuff. And remember, you can always go over to psychictalk.net/upcoming to see all the upcoming shows coming up over the next week. Are you ready to take some phone calls?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So I did pull a card of the day. I got the Four of Swords, which is often about recharging, recuperation, a temporary exile, vacation, retreat, taking a step back, thinking outside of the box, that kind of thing. The numerology of the day, the entire date reduces to 23. 2 plus 3 is 5. So it's a 5 date, and the 19th is the day. 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So it's a 1 day. 1 is self. And so that in combination with the card of the day, I'm thinking spa day, Mary.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Well, it's funny because I pull a card of the day every day on the Psychic Talk Radio Facebook group. If you guys haven't joined that, go on over and join it. We have a lot of fun on there, and we pull a card of the day every day. And the card I got for today was the Oracle of the Unicorns deck. The nature card came up, and it kind of goes along with what you were saying, Dax, because the message of the nature card is to ground yourself, go out in nature, connect with the elements, so it's kind of like a spa day outdoors. So there's something about today where, we need to like reconnect, we need to relax, we need to recharge.
That's right. And also with it being the 5 energy for the date, remember I mentioned earlier in the show that, 5 in numerology is the number of change. It's also sometimes called the chaos number because things can really spin out of control with the 5 energy. And I think that lines up perfectly with getting the Four of Swords as the card of the day, and the day itself being that 1 energy of self. And if you take a step back, if you don't take things too seriously today, do a spa day, whether you actually go out to the spa or just do something for yourself, the Epsom salt and candles bath, or maybe just going to the movies or going and riding a roller coaster or whatever, just a let the hair down kind of day, and just, relax, and then things, they won't have the opportunity to spin out of control, you see.
Exactly.
Yep. Don't sign any contracts today. Don't get married today. Don't start anything new today. Wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's a fixed day. Yeah. Yeah. When it's that 5 energy, don't do any of that. Instead, just, go out, go dancing, girls' night out, spa day, movies,
walk in nature,
relaxing, walking in nature, go down to the beach, whatever, the lake, that kind of thing is what you want to be doing today. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle my cards here, and we'll see who's waiting for us on the phone lines. By the way, if you're dialing in, remember to press 1 on your dial pad. Otherwise, we don't know if you want to talk with us or not. We assume you're just listening, which is perfectly fine. But I see a bunch of calls, and they don't have their hand raised, so to speak. So press number 1 on your dial pad if you're listening and you've dialed in and you want to be live on air with us. Make sure you press 1. And dial in at 714-816-4628. Write that number down, put it in your phone, your pad, whatever. It's good for all of our shows all week long, 714-816-4628. Going to see who's been waiting the longest. It looks like area code 239 is first. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Dax. Hi, Mary. This is Len.
Hi.
I'm currently in California. Thank you for taking my call.
Yay.
Yay. Hi, Lynn.
Great to chat with you.
Hi. Yeah. My birthday is 1/5/56,
Okay.
and yeah, and I'm really ready for some major changes and movements. And I'd like to ask, does Spirit have any messages for me concerning any of that?
Okay.
Okay.
Does Spirit have any messages for you concerning like all the changes that you're
Yeah,
ready
yeah,
for?
I'm expecting. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. I'm
I'm
hearing a
ready.
lot of background
I
noise. I don't know.
am
I don't know.
too. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Maybe. Well, it's so funny, because I didn't hear it until you asked if Spirit had any messages.
I know. It kind of sounded like. Well, anyway, I won't say what it sounded like. But
It's so funny. It's like, oh my gosh, well, there's a message right there. I guess I will go first with this. It's so interesting. So, as far as like messages from Spirit, I feel like what it is saying is that, like, first it's like confirming, like, yeah, you're right, for, some things to change. And, one of the big things that's coming up here does have to do with, it could be love life, right? But I feel like it's also talking about where you want to be, where your heart is at, what you want to be doing. It's saying that, like,
yeah,
this is like now the time, and it's also
that's
reminding,
right.
it's reminding you that, like, you've already done it feels like you've already done everything else that was expected of you, in a sense. You know what I mean?
think so. I do believe so. Yes.
Yeah, and it's
Yes.
that now it's like really about listening to your heart, and also, coming up with a plan.
Yes.
Because we've got to have at least some steps,
Yes.
to get there. But
Exactly.
to not have any reservations about whether or not, it's really appropriate for you to pursue the life that you really want to be living, that's really going to be fulfilling for you emotionally.
Mhm.
So I feel like
Yeah.
it's a big encouragement on that level, more than anything else. It's just saying, like, yeah, it is the time. It's the time for
Yeah.
you to actually, build the life that you want to have, and that is going to be emotionally fulfilling, and not what
Yes.
everybody else is expecting. And for some reason, um, Archangel Metatron is the one that's really, coming through of any of the angels on this, and it's just like, I feel like he's giving you the thumbs up, and saying, like, yes,
Awesome.
go for it.
Yes.
Let's see what
I love that. Yes.
let's see what Dax is getting.
Okay. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
So we have a buzzsaw occasionally going somewhere around my neighborhood. Yeah. We're hearing that.
Okay.
Oh, of course they do this. It's a Saturday, so of course that's why they.
Right.
Don't they know we're trying to broadcast a radio show? I mean, come on.
Exactly.
This is crazy. Oh my God. So the central focus card I got was the Ten of Cups and the Judgment card right next to it there. So it's all really in alignment with what Mary is saying. The Judgment card comes in, and that card shows up like a cosmic wake-up call from the universe saying, "Wake up, Lynn."
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
you can have the abundance that you're looking for. The Ten of Cups is a card of success and happy family life, hearth and home, harmony, joy, matrimony, lasting friendships. And there's Mary mentioned the emotional aspect, and this is about being emotionally fulfilled.
Yeah.
And you're right on the cusp of that. It's really going to start next year, but we're really close to next year. There's only 2.5 months to go here.
Months. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So right now it might be a little slow going. I got the Seven of Swords, which is slow progress towards your goal, moving away from the rougher seas to the calmer seas and making progress. Okay, it just might be a little bit slow going until we hit January. And there's a reason for that if you look at the numerology. And your life path is a 9, and your attitude is a 6. 6 is that hearth and home energy. And 9s are the old souls. 9s are natural leaders, and they like to help other people. Well, 2019 just happens to be a 9 year for you. You're in a personal year of 9, which is the ending of a cycle, and a new cycle begins next year in 2020. Yep.
Awesome. Yes.
Yep. So it's perfectly in alignment with what we've been talking about, what Mary talked about, and you can look forward to that for sure. But there's a little cleanup you have to do, and that's kind of why that's why that Seven of Swords is showing up, why things are a little bit slow going. Because there's things left to be done. Yeah, see, a 9 year is endings, okay? And that's when you are, and that's when you are supposed to be letting go of things that are no longer serving you. It's literally and figuratively clean out the closet, okay? I want you to clean out the closet, get rid of things that aren't serving you. That's what you do in a 9 years, so you can make a fresh start in January with that 1 year that's on the way, okay?
Okay, wonderful. Love it.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Dax.
Thanks for calling.
Appreciate it. Blessings.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Blessings. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the call. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and don't forget to do that spa day today.
Yeah.
Let's see who's been waiting the longest here on the phone lines. It looks like area code 352. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Joanna in Florida.
Hi.
Hey, how is it down there in Florida?
Oh, weathering out the storms here. We're getting ready for another real severe one anytime now, between now and tonight. So, yeah, we're getting hit pretty rough, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Well, good luck to you on that. And, Mary, this is yet another reason why I live in the middle of the desert. There's no hurricanes.
Right. Exactly. I'm in a confusing relationship question. I have a new man in my life of 3 months, and there's a large age difference. It bothered me at first, but it does not bother him because he's dated much older women, and I thought everything was going great and wonderful, and then boom, he went back to his ex-girlfriend. Not really a relationship, it's more like an arrangement. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I'm trying to find out if you can see what went on or what happened, if I give you our birth dates or what I can find out.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Dax, I think it's your turn to go first. Did you want the birth dates to do a numerology, or do you just want to?
Well, yeah, I mean, to do a good analysis like that would take a lot longer time than we've got here on the show to do, unfortunately.
Whatever you can share with me. Whatever you can share with me would be great.
Oh, my God. Lots of background noise there. I'm going to put Joanne's line on hold, Mary, for a second because, wow.
Might be the storm.
It's the storm. It probably is. It probably is. Yeah. Well, the situation's being reflected in the cards because the card of the day, the Four of Swords, actually shows up along with the Tower card in the beginning of the spread, more like recent past. And, so there's that unexpected change of events with the Tower card. It's exactly what happened. It's like, what is going on here? And the Four of Swords is taking a step back, that retreat card. And, this might be very necessary in order for this to happen, because the Tower card's talking about what happened, and the Four of Swords is, where you're at, it literally taking a step back. And that's not a bad thing, to take a step back and really evaluate the whole thing. Really, take a look at obviously he's not really ready if, he's going back to the ex. I don't know if it's, Mary, did she say the ex or the current
The
wife?
ex.
Yeah.
I think the ex-girlfriend, or I can't remember. I got those Four of Swords too. Is that your buzzsaw again? I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that noise?
Yeah, it's not actually going right now. I don't know. But I got the Ten of Pentacles too. And that's the that family dynamic, and that's probably what drew him back in. I don't know if they have kids or anything like that, but it has something to do with family. Is what's what drew him back there. Let's bring Joanne back on here and see if the line's any better. Are you there, Joanne?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes. Well, she lives. Yeah, his ex lives in the same area of his mother, so that might be what you're pulling up on the family. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And I'm not sure what else to do with this. I don't know if there's another aspect to the question.
Right.
Let's see.
I didn't know if this was just like I didn't know if this was just something that I had to take a step back and we were going to work things out, or this was just just walk away from it, or because it was just like all of a sudden I thought everything was going great. And then boom, he goes back to his ex.
Yeah. Well, I did get the success card showed up, Mary. The Six of Wands. That's later on. That's in the near future positions. So there is potential, and the timing card is 4. A 4-month period. There is potential for this to work out. It's do you want it to? And that's the thing. I'm not so sure about that, and I'm going to have to pull more cards. But let's see what Mary's getting.
Okay.
Are you getting anything else?
Yeah. Well, the very first part I got was the Four of Swords. So I think taking a step back right now is probably a good idea. But what's interesting to me is I'm getting that this had to do with security for him. Now, I'm not sure if it's monetary security or if he was, just a sense of, with the Nine of Pentacles in the background, I'm like, oh, okay, he, this might be not about romance, the reason he went back.
No, it's not. That's right. That's what I'm saying. It's an arrangement. Yeah, he gains from her in different ways and financially by being with her. It has nothing to do with love or romance. He's not in love with her. No, he's going through financial hard times right now. So I think that had a lot to do with it. Yes.
That's what I'm getting with this. And and also I get the Emperor card. So I think it's all about him trying to stabilize his situation. But what I'm getting for you is that there's a good possibility that he's going to try and come back around with the World card here. But at the end, I get the Eight of Cups. So what they're saying to me is like, okay, kind of got to take a step back at this point right now. But also, when he does come back around, you've got to really like lay down some ground rules and say, look, I'm about the future and our potential future together and moving onward and upward. And, that's what it's got to be. Because, that stability thing goes both ways. It's not just him stabilizing his life and his financial situation, but also being a stable partner for you if he's going to be in your life.
Exactly. So, and then oh, God bless you both, and I'll let you go in a minute. But see, that's what he has been, and that's why it shocked me so. He's very caring and supportive and everything. Yes, and he's been all that. He has been very much so. So that was right, exactly. Well, listen, God bless you both. Thank you so much. And right, that's exactly what I'm going through. Right, so I'm taking a step back. I'm letting him do what he's doing. Right. Exactly. And right. We'll see where that goes down the road. But definitely, we'll have to talk about all that. Yes, you're right. So bless you both, and thank you again for your time, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Joanne.
Okay, great calling. Take care.
Yep. And I want to leave her with something. You mentioned about the financial situation, and I got that 10 of Pentacles. And I think it has to do with that too. Yeah, that fits in perfectly with there being this whole family dynamic and finances and all of that is contributing to this. And the one thing I wanted to leave Joanne with is that very last card that I got. So that's it, the timing card where I said, things can change or develop over the next 4 months is the Four of Cups. And it's like, okay, in the Four of Cups, the person is not happy with the Three Cups that's in front of them, which is, Joanne's outlook right now, her situation right now. It's another card of taking a step back and retreat, just like the Four of Swords. But there's this cup being presented to her coming out of the clouds, another opportunity that she's not seeing. And
well, that's why it's a good reason to take a step back, is to kind of be able to process just what's happened and be able to, kind of get a different perspective and be able to see, what those other things are.
Plus, when you're too focused on that situation, you don't see the other opportunities that are before you. Yeah. So that's what I want to leave with.
Because it's emotional. It's like we get all up in our feelings, and it's like, we could have an amazing opportunity being offered to us, and it's like our heart just doesn't want to go there yet,
That's right. So, we're at the end of the show already.
Wow. Time flies when we're having fun.
I know. Is that crazy or what?
That is. Well, we covered a lot of ground today, and I hope, I hope our listeners will start exploring the master numbers with the court cards. That is so exciting. That can really, I think, unlock things. That's why I think learning tarot is all about, is like sometimes we need like that other little interesting idea or perspective to like help unlock it for us.